Shalom Yasharal, this is Brother Lamad. Uh, we're going to do a lesson on the connections between Christmas, um, the Asherah trees, Balaam, Baal, however you want to pronounce that, Molech, and the Ashtaroth star, which is the star Venus. Um, Now, anyone who has a KJV, they could see that in the New Testament, there is nothing referring to the celebration of Christmas, or there's nothing in reference to the Christmas trees in the New Testament. However, there is a reference to the Christmas tree in the scriptures, in the Hebrew scriptures, or the so-called Old Testament. So we're going to begin with Jeremiah chapter 10 as an intro to the understanding of where the celebration and where this custom comes from. All praises to the Most High Yahweh, who is a God. Without further ado, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 10. Hear the word that Yahweh has spoken concerning you, O house of Israel. Thus saith Yahweh: Do not learn from the way of the nations. Do not be frightened by the signs of the heavens, though the nations are frightened by them. For the practices of the nations are foolish. For one takes wood that he cut down from the forest, fashioned by an artisan with an adze, or a cutting tool, embellishes it with silver and gold, fastens it with nails and with hammers so that it does not come apart. They are like a sculpted palm tree. They do not speak. They are carried about, for they cannot walk. Do not fear them, for they can do no harm, nor can they do good. So we just read in Jeremiah chapter 10 a description of this custom of bringing in a tree and fastening it to make it stand and embellishing it with silver and gold and decking the halls. Let's get into the origins of this custom. Let's head on over to 2 Kings chapter 23, verses 14 through 15. He shattered the pillars and cut down the Asherah trees, and he filled up their places with human bones. Also, the altar that was in Bethel, the high place that Jeroboam, son of Nebat, built, with which he caused Israel to sin, also that altar and its high place he demolished. He burned the high place and ground it into dust, and burned the Asherah tree. All right, let's move on to 2 Kings chapter 13, verse 6. Nevertheless, they did not turn away from the sins of the house of Jeroboam, that he caused Israel to sin. He went in that path. Also an Asherah tree stood in Samaria. 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 10. They erected for themselves pillars and Asherah trees upon every tall hill and under every leafy tree. Okay, let's switch gears to 1 Kings chapter 18, verse 19. And now send and gather all of Israel to me at Mount Carmel, and also the 450 prophets of the Baal, and the 400 prophets of the Ashtoreth trees, who eat at Jezebel's table. 1 Kings chapter 15, verse 13. And even his grandmother Ma'akah he deposed from being a queen, for she had made an abomination unto an Asherah tree. 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 33. Ahab made an Asherah tree, and Ahab did more to anger Yahweh, God of Israel, than all the kings of Israel who had preceded him. So we see in the scriptures, the Most High is vexed and he gets angry when we put these damn abominations inside our house. So after watching this video, I don't know, you may want to rethink having these things inside your house, if you care. All right, let's move on. 1 Kings chapter 14, verse 23. They too built for themselves high places and pillars and Asherah trees on every lofty hill and under every leafy tree. 1 Kings chapter 14, verse 15. For Yahweh will smite Israel as a reed lurches about in the water, and he will uproot Israel from upon its bountiful land that he gave to their forefathers, and he will scatter them beyond the Euphrates River, because they have made their Asherah trees, angering Yahweh. All right, we're going to switch gears to Judges chapter 6, verse 25. It happened that night that Yahweh said to him, take the young bull that belongs to your father and the second bull, which is 7 years old, and break apart the altar of Baal that belongs to your father, and cut down the Asherah tree that is near it. We're going to continue all the way to 30. Then build an altar for Yahweh your God atop the strong rock, on a level place. Take the second bull and offer it up as an elevation offering using the wood of the Asherah tree that you will cut down. So the Most High instructed us to cut these down and use them as burning wood. Gideon took 10 men from among his servants and did as Yahweh spoke to him. But since he was afraid to do it by day because of his father's household and the people of the city, he did it at night. The people of the city arose early in the morning, and behold, the altar of the Baal had been broken, and the Asherah tree was near it, and had been cut down, and the second bull had been offered up on the newly built altar. Each man said to his fellow, who did this thing? They searched and sought, and they said, Gideon, son of Joash, did this thing. The men of the city then said to Joash, bring out your son, and he shall die, because he has broken the altar of Baal, and because he has cut down the Asherah tree that was near it. So over here, we clearly see what is happening in our modern times, happening in the scripture. A lot of people get upset when you tell them that you don't celebrate Christmas, you don't have a Christmas tree in your house, and you don't do any exchanging of gifts, and they look at you funny. And this is what's happening in the scriptures. Okay, over here they wanted to put him to death for doing all this, but the Most High instructed him to cut down these abominations, and this is abominable to the Most High. Okay, so over here we see a direct link between Baal and the Asherah trees. So this is our first connection between the Asherah trees and Baal. Okay, let's go to Judges chapter 3, verse 7. The children of Israel did what was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, and they forgot Yahweh, their God, and worshipped the Baal, or the Baalim, and the Asherah trees. Another connection. Okay, so now let's educate ourselves on exactly what the Asheroth trees are. Okay, pronounced Asheroth. In the Strongs, you can find it in 842. Okay, and there's a prefix. Ashar means upright, erect. The Christmas trees do grow upright, and they go straight up. They advance to guide direct, okay, a right to pronounce happy. Christmas is surrounded with this guise of happiness and joy. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Fa la 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 la. Okay, happiness, Jesus penis, but we're not gonna go there. To pronounce happiness, to call blessed, to be guided, to be made or pronounced happy, blessed, a grove. Okay, the in the King James, if I'm not mistaken, yes, in the King James version, whenever you see the Asheroth tree being referenced in the KJV, it is pronounced as a grove. Now, let's get better understanding on what the Most High feels about groves. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 21. You shall not plant for yourselves an idolatrous tree, any tree, or any Christmas tree, near the altar of Yahweh, your God, that you shall make for yourself. And you shall not erect for yourselves a pillar which Yahweh your God hates. Okay, clearly the nations are rebelling against the Most High and not even knowing it. All right, let's continue on the definitions of the Asheroth. Sorry, wood of the box tree, to prosper, to be fortunate, fortune in idolatry. Now that's really key. Fortune in idolatry. During Christmas time, we have heavy commerce. The fourth quarter is always when there's the push for sales. Okay, fortune in idolatry. A small evergreen tree, sacred trees or poles, grove for idol worship. So that's the breakdown on the Asheroth. So since we have a couple precepts connecting the Asheroth tree, and Balaam, we're going to make a connection to Baal and Molech. Let's head on over to Jeremiah chapter 32, verse 35. And they built the high places for the Baal that are in the valley of the son of Hinnom, that which to pass their sons and their daughters to the Molech, which I never commanded them, nor did I ever contemplate performing this abomination in order to cause Judah to sin. The Most High never contemplated human sacrifices or child sacrifices. Okay? So we have a connection in the scriptures between the Baal and Molech right here. Let's read more references to the Baal in 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 7. Then Solomon built a high place for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, on the Mount of Olives facing Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon. A little side note, Moab and Ammon, they were descendants of Lot. Let's go over there really quick to get some understanding of this. Genesis chapter 19, verses 30 through 38. Now, and it was on the next day that the older one said to the younger, Behold, I lay with my father last night. Let's ply him with wine tonight as well, and you come lie with him, and we may give life to offspring through our father. So they plied their father with wine that night also, and the younger one got up and lay with him, and he was not aware of her lying down and her getting up. Thus Lot's two daughters conceived from their father. The older one bore a son, and she called his name Moab. Okay? And later on, we learn that they're the ones who enable the worship of these abominable gods. he is the ancestor of Moab until this day. The younger one also bore a son, and she called his name Beer-Ami. He is the ancestor of the children of Ammon until this day. So here we see the connection between Moab and Ammon, and the connection to the abomination. Here's another reference to Molech, 2 Kings chapter 10. He also defiled the Tephath, which was in the valley of Ben Hinnom, so that no man could pass his son or daughter through the fire for the Molech. All right, we're going to go to the first 5, Leviticus chapter 18, verse 21. And let's hear what the Most High has to say about this. You shall not present any of your children to pass through for Molech, and do not profane the name of your God. I am Yahweh. Leviticus chapter 20, 1 through 5. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Say to the children of Israel, any man from the children of Israel and from the proselyte who lives with Israel, who shall give his seed to Molech, shall be put to death. The people of the land shall pelt him with stones. I shall concentrate my attention upon that man, and I shall cut him off from among his people, for he had given from his offspring to Molech in order to defile my sanctuary and to desecrate my holy name. But if the people of the land avert their eyes from that man when he gives from his offspring to Molech, not to put him to death, then I shall concentrate my attention upon that man and upon his family. I will cut off from among their people him and all who stray after him, to stray after the Molech. So we're going to recap. There's a connection we read in the scriptures between the Asherah trees, the Christmas trees, Balaam or Baal, to Molech. Okay? Now we're going to make the connection to Baal or Balaam and the Asherah star, or the North Star, which is referenced in Matthew chapter 2, verse 2. So let's head on over to Judges chapter 10, verse 6. The children of Israel continued to do that which was evil in the eyes of Yahweh. And they worshipped the Balaam, the Asheroth, the gods of Aram, the gods of Sidon, the gods of Moab, the gods of the children of Ammon, and the God of the Philistines. They forsook Yahweh and did not serve him. Judges chapter 2, verse 13. They forsook Yahweh and worshiped the Baal and the Asheroth. All right, now we're going to educate ourselves on the Ashtaroth star. You can find these references in the Strongs, 6255, 6253, 6252. Okay, to be made smooth. This is not to be confused with the Ashtoreth, not to be confused with the Ashtoreth trees. Okay, this is the star. They sound similar in pronunciation, but the spelling is completely different, and they're two different things. But they are connected. To be made smooth, bright, polished, hence, metaphor of the skin, to think of or remember, something wrought, artificial work, thought, opinion. The Astarte, which is the Greek terminology for the star of Venus. Okay? The honored Astarte. The Ashtaroth star, okay, the deity related to fertility and war, a female idol worshipped by the Phoenicians. You can find that in Kings chapter 23, verse 13. and also by the Hebrews in Kings chapter 11, verse 5 and 33. And the Philistines with great honor, together with Baal and the Baalim, the deified planet Venus. Okay, we can also see the Malakat, okay, the Hashemayim, the queen of heaven, the Asheroth, Astarte of the Phoenicians, okay. Let's see, the Diana or Venus, and you can see that in page 491 in the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon. We can go there right now, actually. And here's our connection from the Ashtaroth star, and Molech. Okay, the king Molech, name of an idol of the Ammonites. Okay, an idol of the Ammonites. The queen of heaven, the Ashtaroth, Astarte of the Phoenicians, the Diana or Venus. Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 10. There shall not be found among you one who causes his son or daughter to pass through the fire, one who practices divinations, an astrologer. Okay, an astrologer, that Venus star. Okay, one who reads omens, a sorcerer, or an animal charger, or one who inquires of Av and Udini, or one who consults the dead, or a necromancer. So we see that it's all surrounding the star, Balaam, Molech, the Christmas trees, the Asherah trees. Okay, all of this is abominable to the Most High. Okay, Christmas is all about gift giving. Okay, and what do they mean by gifts? Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 23, verse 31. And we'll start at 26. I profaned them because of their gifts of passing every firstborn before Molech, so that I might destroy them, so that they should know that I am Yahweh. Okay? This is gift giving. 'Tis the season, right? 31. And by giving your gifts, by passing your children through fire, you defile yourselves unto all your idols to this day. Should I relate to your inquiries, O house of Israel? As I live, the word of the Lord Yahweh Elohim, I swear that I will not relate to your inquiries. So think about it. Christmas revolves around gift giving to children. It revolves around children. Okay? The gifts are the children. Christmas is about giving gifts to children and giving the children to Molech as a gift. Okay? This has to be brought up and brought out. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's go to the funny pages. Matthew chapter 2, verse 2. We'll start at 1. Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews, or Molech of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. The star of the east is the Asherah, the Asheroth star. That's this right here. The Ashtaroth star. Okay? It's right here in plain sight. Okay, let's see who you're serving when you participate in Christmas, when you participate in gift giving. Let's see exactly who you're serving. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 11. The word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation over the king of Tyre. Say to him, and king is Molech. Don't forget that. Molech of Tyre. Say to him, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Elohim, are you Adam, the perfection, full of wisdom, beauty, in beauty? Were you in Eden, the garden of God? Was your canopy of every precious stone? Edem, Pitdah, Yalam, Tarshish, Shahom, Yashepha, Sippor, Nephaek, and Barak in gold. The work of your drums and wind instruments was in you. They were established on the day of your creation. You were a great sheltering cherub, and it is I who granted you this. Okay? You were upon the holy mountain of God. You walked among fiery stones. Perfect were you in your ways from the day of your creation until wrongdoing was found in you. Because of your abundant commerce. Okay? This is the cherubim that fell. Lucifer, the god of commerce. Okay? Your midst filled with injustice, and you sinned. So I desecrated you from the mountain of God and destroyed you, O sheltering cherub, from among the firing stones. Your heart became proud because of your beauty. You corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor. So I have thrown you to the ground, and I have set you before kings to gaze upon you. Okay? But you shall be no more forever. So when you're participating in going to Toys R Us, going to shopping malls, and spending your hard-earned cash on gift giving, you are serving Lucifer. Okay? Lucifer, miss. You have an Asherah tree in your house, you are serving Baal or Baal. All right. So we're going to end it off with Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 3. Your eyes have seen what Yahweh did with Baal Pure. For every man that followed Baal Pure, Yahweh your God destroyed him from your midst. But you who cling to Yahweh your God, you are alive today. Let's skip ahead to 16. Deuteronomy 4:16. Lest you act corruptly and make for yourselves a carved image, a likeness of any shape, a form of a male or female, a form of any animal that is on earth, a form of any winged bird that flies in the heaven, a form of anything that creeps on the ground, a form of any fish that is in the water under the earth, unless you raise your eyes to the heaven and you see the sun and the moon and the stars, the entire legion of heaven, and you be drawn astray and bow to them and worship them, which Yahweh your God has apportioned to all the peoples under the entire heaven. But Yahweh has taken you and withdrawn you from the iron cubicle, from Egypt, to be a nation of heritage for him as this very day. Okay, Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 25. When you beget children and grandchildren and will have been long in the land, you will grow corrupt and make a carved image, a likeness of anything, and you will do evil in the eyes of Yahweh your God to anger him. I appoint heaven and earth this day to bear witness against you that you will surely perish quickly from the land to which you are crossing the Jordan to possess. You shall not have lengthy days upon it, for you will be destroyed. Yahweh will scatter you among the peoples, and you will be left few in number among the nations where Yahweh will lead you. There you will serve gods, the handiwork of men, okay, or the Christmas tree. The Christmas tree is the handiwork of men, of wood and stone, which do not see, do not hear, and do not eat, and do not smell. From there you will seek Yahweh your God, and you will find him, if you search for him with all your heart and all your soul. When you are in distress, and all these things have befallen you, at the end of days, you will return to Yahweh your God and hearken to his voice. Alright? We're going to end it right there. If after viewing this video and seeing all the connections with Scripture, this is not my opinion, with Scripture, showing you the connections between Baal, the Christmas tree or the Asherah tree, Molech, and the Ashtaroth star or Venus. Okay? How that ties into the new or the funny pages New Testament, the god of commerce, aka Lucifer. Okay? Yeah, well, don't forget what Jesus said in Revelation. I, Jesus, has sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, which is a lie, and the bright and morning star, which is the truth. Jesus is Lucifer. On Christmas. Morning star miss. Okay? So, with that, I'm going to sign off. Shalom. Shalom to the Torah Knights. Shalom.